Coming up on City Spotlight, it's part one of Charleston and Mattoon in Focus with the Mayor of Charleston, Brandon Combs, Charleston City Manager Scott Smith, Mattoon Mayor Tim Gover, and Mattoon City Administrator Kyle Gill. We will discuss upcoming projects in Charleston and Mattoon, plus what new businesses will be coming to both communities. That's next on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Both towns here in the end of April had their second city council meeting. So let's both start with Charleston first. And Brandon and Scott, the 2016-17 budget was on the agenda, and what transpired at last Tuesday's city council meeting?
We put our budget on file back in March, and we typically like to have our budget on file for 4 weeks, approximately 4 weeks, or at least a 2 council meeting layover period. And so at our last council meeting, we approved our fiscal year 16-17 budget. And were there, with the state of Illinois budget situation and a new year, what challenges did you have with putting that budget together? Well, we're always concerned about modifications or changes in the revenue streams from shared revenues from Springfield. So the mayor and I, along with several of our key staff, have been monitoring the legislative activities in Springfield just to make sure that if there are going to be any changes relative to the shared revenue stream that the cities, both Mattoon and Charleston, all municipalities benefit from, if that's going to get modified in any way, shape, or form, and what implications that may have on our budget. And the last time both of you two were on the program just recently, you talked about this maybe being a summer or a year of little projects would be the focus, like sidewalks and road work. Can you maybe go into that a little bit again? Yeah, one of the things that we talked about at our annual planning retreat and again during the budget cycle again this year is that like any municipality, same with Mattoon, the little projects sometimes have a tendency to get onto a laundry list, and sometimes it takes a while to get back to those. And last year, recall, we had a big project on Harrison Street where we internally rebuilt an entire section of street from the ground up from 4th Street over to 6th Street, and it was a project that had been on the city's long-range plan for a number of years, and I now know why, because it was pretty difficult and challenging. A lot of earth moving, a lot of retaining wall work, and just some really challenging conditions for us. So this summer we're focusing a lot on street and sidewalk repairs. We've got a water main project underway right now on 10th Street, and just a tremendous amount of sidewalk work actually. And Brandon, you're coming up 1 year almost of being the mayor of Charleston, and from looking at the city budget for moving forward this year, what were some of the things that you were looking forward to?
Well, really there wasn't anything specifically looking forward to. It still was a little bit more of a learning experience at this level, but I can tell you from being a business owner myself and being around budgets and doing it when I was on the chamber and some other boards, Scott and Heather and the rest of the team, they do a phenomenal job. I can't say good enough things about how they watch everything that goes in and out, and they run it very, very well. So, it makes my job on this end easier when you have such a strong team like we have.
Okay, very good. We'll talk more about Charleston in a little bit with economic development. Let's bring Tim and Kyle into the conversation. Mattoon as well, last Tuesday had their second city council meeting for April, and the budget for the coming year was also on the agenda. What transpired last Tuesday?
Very similar. At the end of March, we put it on file. The first meeting in April, April 5th, I had a public hearing at the council meeting and went through it. And then last Tuesday night, we approved it. We have a surplus of $48,000. A little bit of struggle at the first after everybody's wish list. We had to make quite a few cuts, but we were able to do so, put it in surplus. And like Brandon had said about his staff, our staff worked really well in identifying what was necessity this year, what could be put off another year, what was kind of just a wish list. So we were able to put it in perspective and get it with a $48,000 surplus. So.
Tim, if I can ask you, it's a new year, a new budget, and I think everybody's anticipating to look and see how it will turn out. What challenges did you see with this year's budget?
Well, as Kyle said, we have a lot of, had to do some cutting. And one of the problems we have, of course, we don't know what's going to happen from Springfield. And we're hoping that our sources of revenue from the state will not be cut. But until we get a state budget, which who knows when that's going to happen, we're just going with keeping our fingers crossed. Let me put it that way, that there will not be any changes or any money that they will take. Now, having said that, we got a notice the other day, as Charleston did, that we're going to have to pay back $65,000 to the state.
And when that news comes down to something like that, where you find out and almost feels like a last second thing that, oh, we owe some money back to Springfield, what was your reaction to that?
I don't think I can say on air.
That's perfectly fine. As far as something else that we've talked about involving monies that Mattoon has is you have monies from video gaming. So how do those help with the budget, and how do you really forecast those, Kyle?
Our council did a very good job, but when they first came out with those video gaming funds, that they did not want to just let it go into the general fund. They wanted to make sure that it got spent on projects that are on items that we haven't done as a city in the past. And just in this case, if the state ever took any money away from us, that money wasn't already put in the general fund, so to speak, as salaries or anything like that. So we divided it up into 5 different categories, paying extra towards pensions, demolitions, upkeep of buildings. Part of it goes to the reserves, and then the last section, just specialized equipment that we typically wouldn't buy.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that information on the budget. Let's stick with Mattoon and talk about some upcoming projects that you guys have going on. Let's start with Marshall Avenue road work. I understand that's going to be starting very soon.
Once school is out, it will. And that will be a 3-year project. Kyle can probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah, Marshall Avenue, we will, 6th to 9th Street will be starting as soon as school lets out. We just let the bids for it. A local contractor is the low bidder, so we'll make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and hopefully he'll start then as soon as school gets out, and hopefully be completed before school gets back in.
Well, and we're going to have the intersection of 9th and Marshall completed, because that's a major thoroughfare that goes down to the middle school and to Williams School. But so that will be completed before school begins, and then next year we'll go from 9th to, I believe, 14th Street, and then the following year we'll go from 14th Street to 17th Street. So the whole street will be reconstructed.
And I was there recently to get some video, and definitely a lot of traffic, so barring any bad weather, hopefully it gets done on time.
Right.
Let's talk about Heritage Park. That's over at 17th and Broadway. It's a project that we've mentioned recently. Where is that project going?
It has actually begun construction already. They're moving quite well. The city did some of their portions in the alley already, and now the main contractor's in there moving dirt, putting in the cisterns for the water feature. So progress is moving very well on that.
Okay, very good. And sticking in that area, you guys, when we talked briefly before this airing here, is more arts in the downtown. Is there anything you can elaborate on that? More arts in the downtown area.
Our arts and tourism, they're doing a wonderful job. They keep on bringing more and more things up. Actually, I believe, I don't know if it's this, I think it's this coming weekend that they will be having some little plays on Friday, Saturday, Sunday evening. Okay. And yes, they're doing really well of getting more use of what we have, the Lonell Room and the train depot. And it's just exciting to have more people drawn to the downtown. And
we hope to have a mural on the side of that building, which some people refer to as the Thrifty Building or the Bank Building. They're just to the east of the depot.
Okay, very good. Beautiful murals there in downtown Mattoon. Let's talk over about North 6th Street, the wastewater treatment facility that involves sewer work. What can you tell us, Kyle?
That was a big project that was kind of forced upon us through the IEPA, but it's a combined sewer stormwater overflow. We had to do this satellite treatment facility to help separate that and treat the water, and it's a very large project that be hopefully done towards the end of this year. About $20 million project, probably actually about $18 million project, but very, very costly, but it's, well, it's what needs to be done to treat that water before it goes into the creeks.
Okay, it had to be done. Tim, we've talked a couple times now about over 14th Street across from the post office, the former Young radiator plant. That demolition has been completed. Where are things moving with that?
It has been completed. There were parts of buildings that were still there, but those have been removed. There's still part of a fence that is there that I'd like to get removed because all it's doing is collecting trash. But we're working with the owner of the property, and hopefully he will allow that to be removed, or will actually remove it. So we're very pleased to have that. It's been a project that we've been working on for many, many years, and many people were involved in getting that done. So I'm very pleased with that.
Satisfactory project. Let's talk about something we've also talked about a couple times, the new Public Works building. First of all, it's kind of a two-part question. Remind folks at home where the new Public Works building will be, and once that's up and running, what will happen to the current Public Works building?
Okay, new Public Works building will be east of Logan on DeWitt Avenue, kind of east of Mervis Recycling, and we hope to have it under roof by the end of the year. It's a good project. Weather's been a little wet this spring, so we're hoping that things dry up and we get started. Once we get that one completed, we do have the old Public Works building that's going to be slated to be torn down, and hopefully we'll have our bike trail go through that property and extend it to the YMCA.
And one of the advantages of where we're putting the new Public Works building, it adjoins our yard waste facility. So in the future, if we need to expand, we can expand into that area.
Okay.
So it's a good project there, and so I think that's a good location for it because we do have expansion possibilities.
And the current facility is at 12th and Richmond.
Correct.
Very good. Let's go over by the mall, and I understand that a Denny's restaurant will be in the former Ponderosa. Can you tell us about that?
They came in, they've pulled permits, they're actually starting to do some work on the outside. Everybody's been asking, is it still on, is it still on? Because they've been doing work on the inside and they haven't seen much. But yes, actually they started work on the outside now, so we're hoping towards the end of May that they will be opening up their doors for people to go in there and eat.
All right, plenty of places to eat around that area, so one more little bit of variety. And I understand that you both mentioned to me there's a new owner at the former Days Inn, is that correct?
That's correct. A young couple have bought the Days Inn, and they are going to rehab it, and we wish them much success.
Okay, I'm kind of going all over the place in Mattoon, so let's track back toward the downtown, and you can't miss the work that's being done at the Casey Summers dealership. It feels like the place is doubling. What's the timetable on completion of their new addition?
I'm not sure there is a timetable.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either, but I would say probably in the next 3 months that they'll be pretty close. They're actually working on getting their sign put up for the GMC dealership. You know, it's all enclosed now. They're working on the concrete lot in front of the building. It's just a beautiful, beautiful building and a nice asset for the downtown area.
It's very large in size. Okay, I guess some more automotive news. I guess this is the automotive section of Mattoon right here. The Mattoon Tire and Auto was bought. That's down on Lakeland Boulevard. What can you tell us there?
Roy Smith, the Honda dealership down in Effingham, had bought the property. I think he's putting used cars sales there. Be nice asset to that south end. I think he's going to be expanding the parking area to have more used cars there, and it's just hopefully helps spur some more development down that south end on Lakeland Boulevard.
Okay, and one thing I want to ask you, because I think if maybe a few people are curious, I'm curious, the current Cody's there by the interstate, I've seen many cars there in front of the building. Maybe there's things you can't say, but what's going on with that, because it's still currently Cody's?
Yeah, actually they just closed last Friday.
Okay. On
it. Fujiyama's down in Effingham. That same owner bought it. He plans to open that up, hopefully be open by Christmas. He has, I believe 9 stores around central and southern Illinois. So
I believe there's one in Effingham, so Effingham Mattoon connection with a couple businesses going there. I want to ask you a little bit about that specific area, all the businesses by the interstate. That's the east part of Mattoon. Is there still room for growth in that area, and is that an area you're targeting with all that you've seen over the last couple of decades? All these businesses, is that a place that you can still continue to look?
Yes, most definitely. Actually, the majority of the land around that area has just sold recently to for a new buyer, and then there's been several people just entertaining trying to buy some land off of the new owner. So hopefully, something will come of it. You never know. It's all real preliminary, but it is a good area. There's water and sewer out there, so hopefully we'll see some development in the next couple of years in that area.
Very good. I think we touched all points of Mattoon there. Kyle and Tim, thank you very much. Let's bring Brandon and Scott, and you guys have plenty on your plate as well. I want to start with the Domino's location on Lincoln Avenue at the former Domino's, and I noticed there was some demolition going on there just Friday the 22nd. So what's going on there with that project?
New owner has acquired the property. I think they closed on the property back in February. And yes, Dennis Drake was in there on Friday, and by the time I was on my way to work, he already had the building down, so it didn't take him very long. Now, he spent a few days here over the weekend getting all the construction debris removed, digging out the original parking area, and then building the base that will become the new home to the new Domino's.
And Brandon, that Domino's location seemed like it's been vacant forever. To have something go up there and new looking, that's got to be a major plus.
Oh, it's a huge plus. I mean, that's directly, right there connected to the university, right across the street from Old Main. And that other building, it's been there empty for a while, kind of an eyesore. So it's going to be great to see this new building. The picture was put in the paper, so I mean, everyone can see, and it's going to be seating in there. I believe it's 20 seats. So a new look there on the corner, and it's going to be just a fantastic project.
And that's something that'll be open by, did I hear fall was what I read?
Yeah, I think the owners would have loved to have had the new Domino's open by the time the students return in the fall for the fall semester. But in talking with him, it sounds as though just given the construction schedule that more than likely going to be open probably closer to Labor Day, or maybe right around in there sometime.
Okay, another business coming to Charleston. Even Aldi's coming to Charleston. Where is that location, and when might we see that?
They've already.
Yeah, they've acquired the property. Just recently acquired that property from Steve Drake. It is going to be right off of Hawthorne, at the corner of Hawthorne Drive and Lincoln Avenue. It'll be directly across from Walmart, and for some local folks, across the street there from the Adams Funeral Chapel. And they're hoping to get under construction in May, and would like to be open late this fall.
Cam, I may want to ask this question maybe a little bit later, but a phrase that you used, Scott, when we were talking before we taped this program, doing this program here, is that Charleston's kind of becoming a wagon wheel with different pieces, all these there on the east side of town, where you have not only the residents of Charleston can benefit from, but some of the other outlying towns. Maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, I think one of the attractive aspects of that particular location for Aldi's is that there's a lot of folks from Charleston that do drive to Mattoon to shop at Aldi's, but they felt like there was some opportunities on the east side of the county that they could attract to a Charleston location. So I think they see this as an opportunity to attract some more folks from Ashmore, from Oakland, maybe from down in Cumberland County on the south side of Charleston. So I think they see this as a growth potential for the east side of Coles County and maybe a little bit further. And of course, a lot of people are commuting back and forth from Charleston to the east side of the county, and they'll stop there on their way home. But they definitely feel like they'll attract some customers that would maybe come in and shop at the Walmart, but will also shop at Aldi. Okay. And you'll notice that they like to be near a super center area like a Walmart center. You'll find that they're usually pretty close by. The one in Champaign's out in front of the Walmart on North Prospect. So
that's kind of the one I was thinking about when I was picturing it. Very good.
And our store will look very similar to that particular store in Champaign.
All right, very good. Nearby that, we have Windy City Pizza. What is that?
There's a new pizza restaurant that's going to be going in right across from the Pilson's Automotive Center there at Lincoln and Route 130. So I always call it the Aero Travel Center, being a Charleston person, and so but they're going to be locating there, in there with I believe Sakis is in there, and I think there's a hair salon back on the back side of that as well.
Yes, I know the facility, the area very well. You also have some gas stations that have made some improvements, but I want to get to 18th Street and the things going on with 18th Street. So that's some things I want to talk about, and I could list the things that we talked beforehand, but if you guys want to go ahead and wherever you want to start on 18th Street, what are the things going on 18th Street in Charleston?
We might need an hour to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing, seeing the growth that's on 18th Street. I mean, we can start at either end, but you have Rex Dawn, their building, and it's just phenomenal looking. I don't know if you've been down there by it, but
my daughter actually just asked me, what is that?
It's gorgeous. And then as you have them, as you keep on going, Casey's, there's next to Albin, there's a groundbreaking that I'm going to next week on, is that a memory care facility? Then yeah, Casey's, the Windy City Pizza. And then as we go on down, we have obviously the huge development that's going down there by the Phillips family, and then the 18th Street Garden Center. So, you know, there's, did I miss any?
I think you got them all.
You know, there's just a lot of stuff going on 18th Street, and I get the question, why 18th Street? You know, just right place, right time. I mean, property there is priced right, and when property's priced right, people's gonna, you know, build. I give a lot of props to Mr. Runyon there too, because he helped organize the 18th Street block party and things of that nature, and that's just drawing a lot of attention to that area. And now we see it, you know, it's booming. I mean, millions and millions of dollars are being spent right there along 18th Street.
Scott, you had mentioned the revitalization of the 18th Street corridor. I think you'd said something to the effect you had been at a retreat, and then all of a sudden there's this, we need to focus on 18th Street.
Yeah.
Can you maybe explain that?
Well, we've been talking about the redevelopment of 18th Street. We actually tossed around the idea of an additional TIF district or maybe a business district along 18th Street. And as some of these businesses started to look at 18th Street for possible expansion or growth opportunities, some of those discussions were had with some of those property owners. But there was not a TIF overlay or a business district overlay, and all the activity has really gone on without any of those types of incentives. But I know I grew up real close to 18th Street, actually behind what used to be called the old Fountain Blue on Hance Drive. And so for me personally, I can still remember the Checker gas station. I can still remember the Heritage House. I can still remember the Tasty Freeze, you know, and all those places there on 18th Street. I ran around in those all day, every day after school. So to see what's occurred on 18th Street is just tremendous. And I agree with the mayor. You know, Steve Runyon, the bike and hike folks, the 18th Street Garden Shop, Twice as Nice, everyone down through there, the bank, everybody down there has gotten really involved with this 18th Street festival. And they're, you know, if you come down there when that festival is going on, you'll find hundreds of people down there walking the street. They're checking out all the businesses. There's food, there's vendors. It's just a really good atmosphere. Very well attended, and I think that has really helped generate a lot of interest for those owners of those properties along 18th Street. It's very attractive. Again, it's a major thoroughfare. There's a lot of activity on Route 130, really always has been. And so I think that there's been some success there with the expansion of Casey's. Gavina Graphics built their new addition. We did forget that one. I apologize to the folks there. That is a huge expansion, I might add.
Yes.
And obviously for Casey's to expand, they wouldn't be expanding if they weren't profitable and they weren't doing well at that location. Like you said, the Rexdon corporate office, that new interconnection there that we're going to have to the Lake Trails over to Sister City Park. There's just a number of things, and again, like the mayor mentioned, that project that Reggie and his family at the corner of Harrison and Route 130 there is just unbelievable, and they're under construction now, and a lot of work there in just the last 60 days. So just a lot happening down there.
Very busy, to say the least. Let's go down 130, 18th Street just a little bit and talk about Lake Charleston. And it seems like there's always a group on the weekends that's out there helping clean the trails. So talk about
this sudden movement toward the trails at Lake Charleston?
Well, one of the things that we've talked about for many, many years, and honestly it was a bit of a dream with our park board and council, a lot of our long-range planning retreats, was this idea of getting a walking trail all the way around Lake Charleston. Wouldn't that be cool? And we used to kind of sit around and talk about that, kind of laugh about it. And over the course of the last 10 years, there's been a couple of land acquisitions, the Woodyard Park track, some property north of the water plant, and a couple of other small pieces and parcels that we've put together that have made that possible. And while the acquisition of property, contiguous property certainly lend itself to making that a reality, there were a number of big obstacles in the way. There were a couple of coves in there we had to install the bridge on, and some riprap and do some pretty cool stuff in the last 12 to 18 months, but our team has met the challenge. And then Brendan Lynch and the folks at Bike and Hike and these volunteers, our team at City Hall, they really got behind it, they embraced it, and they've done a tremendous job in the last 12 to 18 months creating and constructing some new trails and really energizing the community. I'll tell you what, the volunteers that are showing up, these volunteer stewards, these trail stewards that we've got really involved here in the last few months to come out and pick up garbage and do trail maintenance. Without them, we just wouldn't have this.
Very good. And Brandon, I want to ask you, because we've talked about 18th Street, so we have this whole eastern side of Charleston now. We have all these things developing where, as a kid, I remember I grew up on Garfield, there was no Casey's General Store, it was just a plot of grass. Mm-hmm. So now you have all this involvement on the eastern side of Charleston. What do you think about that and how it's going to help Charleston moving forward?
Well, I think it just shows that, in this tough time that the whole county is going through, especially with Charleston, with the eastern stuff, that Charleston is still a bright spot on the map. And then, listening to the things that are coming to Mattoon, I would say that Coles County is a bright spot on the map. And we forget sometimes. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity of all the things that are, this is going on. But really, when you get down to it and look, this is some of the biggest growth that Charleston's seen in years, all at one time. So that tells me that there's something here. This is a special place, and we have we have this university here in our backyard, and so this is fantastic. And I'm super pleased with everything that's been going on.
City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.